Yeah. It was too tight for us to get this thing through it. The endurance went a lot better for us.
Yeah, the endurance was much better
We
for
had
us.
75.
We got 74, very 75.
On the third lap.
Oh, something.
So it's on our third lap.
That's quick.
Yeah, that was our third lap. And that was brand new tires with the stickers still on.
The tire temperature that we're getting here, once the sticker wears off, I think we're as good as we're going to get. The highest tire temperature we saw yesterday was 110 Fahrenheit. Most of them were in the 80s.
More than I'd expect.
Help. Okay, I like the car, as I said yesterday. I really like the idea that you thought about where the wing load should go. A different way of doing it. In some respects, maybe a better way. Than the undertray. Certainly is the worst way. Out of curiosity, have you put the car in scales and then stood on the front wing and see what happened?
No.
Or just pile a weight on it. Standing on it might be a little much.
Yeah.
Put say 50 pounds on it and see how much of it.
Actually goes.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity. It is a pretty big cantilever. I made a Warren truss out of it. See, I know it's a but I like it. This is really clever. I can't read that.
I did. It was kind of there.
Not running very much casting.
About 3.5.
You're not running very much casting.
Right. 0 KPI.
0 KPI I can see, which I approve of entirely. Probably a little more scrub release that I'd like to see, but not much. That's not a problem. I love your integrated caliper. I probably wouldn't do it myself because I wouldn't spend the resources on it, but boy, did you learn a lot.
Yeah.
That is, of course, the name of the game. I'm not going to touch those discs. Are they floating? Are the discs floating?
No.
Float them.
We actually have a little issue with soft brake pedals under, long straight. I think we might be wobbling a tiny bit than one of these bearings. The snap ring isn't quite tight enough.
But if you float the disc, it'll take care of that.
Right.
And the other thing that it does is it remarkably, or it reduces remarkably the rolling resistance of the car. It's sort of amazing. If you think it's not going to make much difference, but it does. It's easy to do. Let me ask you this. When you turn the steering wheel to the lock required for the average corner out there, whatever that may be, what's the camber on the loaded wheel? Say, assuming you started with 0,
Right.
you dealt a camber.
I don't know the number. I just know that it increases our weight out there.
Oh yeah, you're going to get crossweight transfer.
That number, I don't know.
With 0 kingpin, if you ran a little more caster, you could keep that loaded wheel upright. You're not going to do it with 3.5, which would be a good thing to do. Would be a very good thing to do, in fact. What's your motion ratio on the shocks?
See, I don't use the motion ratio to identify kinematic analysis of that. Quad wheel rate is a function of really linear wheel rate.
Yeah.
130. Excellent. Adjustable as well.
Yeah, okay. But that still doesn't tell me how far the shock travels with each bump
I
travel.
have that. It's quite close.
It looks like it is. Did you do any shock work? Tisk, tisk. As it happens, those are Fox Vanillas, right?
Yep.
They're very damn good. You're liable to get 4 that are the same, which I can't say with any other manufacturer. They do have some low-speed damping in them, and they don't have a lot of nose pressure. Bob Fox is a very fine guy. Didn't make any money any at all with his racing shots, he's become a multi-billionaire at this point.
Pricing on this year for SAE. Well,
You're not running much acronym.
no, the issue we had, we were slightly limited with the clearance of the. We ran too much.
There are ways to fix that. And you are not going to believe what running more Ackerman, and that's the only term I'm going to use, will do for you.
Right here, we're 6 or 7 degrees extra on the inside of the box.
You will not believe what more Ackerman is going to do for you, because at your normal turning radius, wherever that may be, say it's like that, you haven't got much.
Right, exactly.
It's not linear. It can't be. Yeah. Enough said on that. If you run more caster, you'll keep that outside wheel more upright. If the steering gets too hard, just put some mechanical rail in it. Keep it easy. You should have some anyway. Most professional cars now are running 8-9 degrees of caster with 3/4 of an inch or so of mechanical trail. And boy, does it work. And there are cars here that are doing a very similar thing. They're going very fast.
Achieved a pretty good balance with this car.
Yeah, the car ran well.
Ran really well.
You've done a very clever rear wing mount. You've done it right.
Needs to get a bit more rigid. Bouncing around quite a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of going to. Kind of, sort of. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You might think about putting a silent block push of some kind up at the wing. So you got a little bit of rubber in there to absorb what's happening. Please, 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 fix it so it doesn't do that. It offends my sensibilities, such as they are. I think I would probably do a little more research into wing profiles. Let me rephrase that. I know I would do a little more research into wing profiles. You can cut the drag down a lot for the same amount of lift with a different profile, which is all I'm going to say about that. And next year, for every car that comes to design that doesn't have a jam nut on it, it's going to be 5 points. And for every loose nut that I find, it's going to be 5 points.
Check the other one.
Jam nut on that side.
Okay?
Well, did it?
And it's even tight. So you only got 5 points.
It's actually welded to the mount in the back, so that's
Okay. I don't need a jam nut there. I might think about that well. I might give that some serious thought. If somebody said, where's this going to break? I would look a lot further than that. A real small thing, I really like the color of the frame and the control arms.
Yeah, that was me.
I mean, I hate looking at purple and yellow and green. I'm tired of looking at black. The best one I've seen yet is North Carolina Charlotte, who black oxided, and they had welded with Everdur. And the Everdur didn't take the black oxide, but it polished it gold. It's really pretty, and it was totally accidental. The other one I liked about that car is looking at the aluminum welding, which is just gorgeous. And of course, I was immediately suspicious. And I said, okay, who welded this? And they said, he did. Wow, congratulations. And he works at Butler Seed. Real seriously about what a wicker bill or a gurney, whatever you want to call it, does to you. In a competition where you're looking for minimal drag, probably at the road speeds we're talking about, it doesn't hurt much. At high road speeds, they kill you on a normal wing setup like this. When you got a cascade where the last element is vertical, they don't hurt you at all. Something to think about. What did we weigh?
497.
I personally really like rear toe links that are mounted in the chassis rather than twin control arms. Nobody gives them to me, but I like them. And the reason is everybody says, oh, well, if I've got two control arms and the axes are parallel, then there's, by definition, no bump steer. Bullshit. There can't be. And it's almost impossible to adjust it out under those circumstances. With something like this, you can adjust it out very easily. And it's gone. That's good. You've done the lower ball joint properly, very properly. I like your upgrade. I like you've got a spherical bearing that's turned the right way. Terrible. For that. I like the upright a lot.
They're economical as well.
It's very economical.
They're
sheet metal.
light,
Yeah.
they're stiff, but other than that. Load pack is good on the push rod. Finger down here. Yeah, okay. How are you doing? C-section there? It's a nice car and it ran very well. I was impressed. What's your wing weigh, roughly?
5 to 7 now.
Doesn't have to be that heavy. There are ways to make it lighter. And it is up pretty high. Do some airfoil research. You get 5 out of 5 for aesthetics. It's a very pretty car. Which side? How radiator is this side?
No, the radiators. This is gas. Radiators on the other side. You want to take the body up or do the other side?
Real radius. So let's go for it. In other words, the air that gets in the front has to go through the radiator.
Yeah.
Okay.
The radiators on the other side.
And is it a real duct?
Yes.
It expands and then contracts?
I'll see it. I'll show you.
No, I believe it.
I want to ask you, what do you think about the node in the back? Where all the tubes come together.
As long as you can weld it, that's the way to do it.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with multi-tube clusters as long as you can weld it. And as long as you have the mechanical fit before you weld it. Gap rod is a bad thing. Oh, hell, if you look at David Bruns's tube frames on Swifts, we had 7 tube clusters.
Yeah.
The fabricator was not real happy with. He used another word after cluster.
This is 10 tubes coming together.
That's a hell of a cluster. But like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a good way of doing things. It's just a bitch to fit the weld. Which somebody might hit you on manufacturability, but somehow that's never bothered me very much personally. Just like when people ask me about cost, I tell them my job is to spend. Thank you for using a 6-point. And I presume that it's anchored where it should be.
Yeah, back to
According to instructions.
Yeah. Actually, we talked to a safety guy over at GM that he does NASCAR and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mounted the seat belts exactly how it's said to in the Simpson catalog.
Yeah.
But he said that the submarine belts should be mounted back by your lap belts.
Same mounting.
Yeah, but the Simpson catalog says it should be parallel with your chest, so I mounted them up there.
Oh, no, that's not what you want.
Yeah,
Think of it as a parachute harness.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. We did the first ones for the wall. The prototype not only looked like a parachute harness, it was one. And it does a couple of things very well. It holds you in the seat better than 5-point does. A lot better. And if there should happen to be a frontal impact, the family jewels stay in one of these, which is of some interest. With a 5-point, talked a lot. What do you want to know?
Well, last year you looked at our car and you said that our driver compartment looked a little weak, and I wanted to know what you think.
Doesn't look weak anymore. And this, did you do a physical torsion test?
Not physical.
On your FEA, did you do a slope? In other words, did you just do a total torsion test, or did you do a station by station?
It was total.
Okay. Because my bet is that you don't have the typical ball joint sitting right about here because of your 10-tube cluster. Most of these cars, if you do a physical test, and whether it's an installed ratio or just a frame, you'll find that right about here, it goes weak.
We actually one of the past cars we had done, successive tests on, and it was only 450 foot-pounds per degree, which was...
That's not very much, is it?
No, it really isn't, and it all came right
It all
back.
came in the same place.
That's pretty much where the theory came.
Okay, well,
you
did a nice job of it.
And it really helped in the FEA. Actually, I had looked at the successive torsion. It was big to reduce the backs.
What's the bare frame weigh?
60. It's high 60s.
68.
What's the car weigh again?
497.
Okay, 68's a little heavy, but you've got a really nice, really safe frame. And yeah,
High
okay.
sides.
This is a 5-minute warning. Bookstore bookroll is
We heard that before. Yeah, everybody's on me about my weight bug. It's not that hard to build a 500-pound car, as you know. And I've never said that a 380-pound car gets points. It does. It gets them taken away because they're weak. The diminishing returns has got to be someplace close to 500. Certainly it's over 450. This is a really, really nice car. You should be proud of yourselves. Oh God, real padding.
Yep.
Damn, that's the second car I've seen. Where'd the muffler come from and how heavy is it?
It weighs 49 pounds, 9 ounces.
Okay, well done.
We tested at 94 decibels.
You obviously got through noise.
Oh yeah, and there was really no difference in that. One horsepower.
Well done. These are the tires that went on it?
Yes, they are. Yeah, we only made it through 4.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the balance was good, but you weren't working them hard enough.
Yeah. Had some better 4 laps in, and then had to leave the race.
Sorry to hear that.
It was really well, I think. And the 4 laps we did, we had the third fastest time up to then. I don't know about that.
How fast?
Fastest 75.
It's right there.
And we were still getting faster.
Well, after 4 laps, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, damn. No, there's something that you should actually start the tube before you weld it.
What's that?
You've actually welded the tube on an angle.
Yeah, we have every long time.
Yes, well, that is, as you know, the proper way of doing it, and nobody does it.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if I know why. It's not like it's hard.
No, it's not. Just like jam it to the grinder.
Right. That way.
It's lighter.
I can't really take a picture of it. I just really make it.
I love it.
I first
I told you that yesterday, or Thursday, whatever that was.
Pop off the nose.
Or a dime if you're strong.
Well, he's taking that off. The rear end can't go drive. I don't know. And I think pennies are too big. Airman 100 on sheet housing. And an output shaft was close to 15. Place to use for just a Van Diemen down shaft. We used the Van Diemen innards, but we made our own locally outers. They go from 20 housers to depthers. And same at the upright, straight through, so it's components with the other side, tight best fit. Did that, and we put that at that 5 $5
That's good stuff.
Oh, phenomenal. It's a vegetable machine.
I was about to mention. You want to try thread roll. You have to thread roll at an elevated temperature, so you have to control the die speed from about 1 inch per year.
Yeah, we couldn't, the splines actually have to be cut. They had to be ground. Yeah, ground.
They can be, but you don't want to know about it.
Yeah. And we were looking at doing an airman hatchet. Solid rods, kind of get that screwdriver.
Yeah,
Very
forget
difficult.
it.
So,
All these nice stuff.
yeah.
It is heat treated.
Yeah. And they were heat treated.
Oh, look at that. A real tool.
Sometimes you gotta put more than 2 cents in these things.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? So you're obviously dry something.
No.
What's that?
That's our gas tank. Yes. I just put a little more protection in it.
Did you volunteer to do that?
No, they made us do it, yeah.
I've got 2 lines on dry sumps and I haven't carried it up yet. I'd like to see some numbers with them without on horsepower. Nobody would able to show them to me.
There's a reason the center of gravity is low enough, I think, that you don't need it with an R6 motor. The oil pins like full reach is deep.
Which is just silly.
Yeah, it makes the center of gravity go. It's good for a motorcycle, but not for a car.
Yeah, basically my feeling is if you can get the center of gravity down as far without it as you can with it, then you shouldn't do it.
Fit the shape.
That is a really nice tube frame.
Turnbuckles on the rail there? Yeah.
Remember, okay, what did the design judges hit you on?
Serviceability. We only got half on that. I think they're. Yeah, they did. Yeah, and only chassis too. 15 out of 30 on chassis as well.
Assuming we did test it. That's a big problem. Assuming
Okay.
we did before tested, so
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
Serviceability, even though the engine is great, if you have a split firewall, it pops out the seat, it's 4 fasteners and it pops out and it slides out the front, rather than having a hole from the rear or something that's going to compromise your chassis.
But like I said, if we could have one judge and give him 2 hours per car.
Yeah. We lost a little on the powertrain.
As you know, there'll be engine-powered engines, some people in there, literally leave it.
Yeah, I mean, we just went for simple, reliable, we're making decent horsepower 71.
I will point out that your rear push-rod rocker is out of plane right now. Which, if you've got bearings in the shock absorber, that's fine.
Yeah, we have the spherical bearings there.
Okay. And I don't mind it being out of plane because I realize it's almost impossible to get it in plane. You'd have to shim all sorts of things that you don't want to shim. I love it. I don't like the profile, as I said.
We have to work with that. A lot of aeros aren't really into car stuff, they're more into airplane stuff, so they don't want to help us out.
Your basic problem with race car wings as opposed to airplane wings is airplane wings are not designed to operate in dirty air or ground effect.
Yeah.
And we, by definition, operate in both. So I would tend to kind of...
You want to do it yourself?
Yeah. There are some pretty good race car wing designs. Speaking of the web, there will be on the website, sometime in the next few months, a list of the questions that we design judges feel a student should be able to answer, and some term definitions, because we're finding out that what we call A, the English call B, and the Australians call C, and the Japanese say, huh? Because it's gotten to the point where certainly the finalists and to a large extent the semifinalists are selected not mainly but very strongly on their presentation and their ability to answer questions. What I think is probably the best car here didn't make the semis because the only question they can answer is what color is this car. And the judges in that line were absolutely convinced that that car was the product of a previous group of students, and I happen to know that it wasn't. They just blew it. And it kept them out of the semis, and it's a car that would have been in the finals. Storyboards, and I don't know whether you have them or not. They're crucial. And the reason is very simple. We've got 20 minutes. And if we ask a guy to show us the curve, he has to leaf through a 3-ring binder. There's 3 minutes of that 20 gone, as opposed to, there it is. And with your binders, have 2. One for powertrain and the other for chassis and suspension, because, well, Fred's got the binder. Doesn't help too much. And, you don't need a binder that thick. You really don't. You need a binder that thick so you can find it in a hurry. We don't need a picture or charts of every FEA analysis you did. We just need the basic information. We need to see paper. And, not very much is not a good engineering answer, or a whole lot is no better. And it's only going to get worse in that respect, because the median level of car is going to get better and better and better. This car is way above the median level, obviously. Except that it would put me out of a job, I'd say throw out the design thing and do it all on dynamics, because design is just getting harder and harder and harder.
How about answer bars?
Well,
I recognize the need for one, but we just didn't have time. It's tough to fit them into this chassis.
okay, I will ask the same old question. Your car, you get to the racetrack and you're practicing, and your car has developed either a push or it's loose, and you don't have any time. What are you going to do?
Adjust the bunkers.
That happens to be the right answer. You're the second team that's given it to me in the last 6 years. Now, whether you can convince the other design judges of that is another question. If I were building a car and wanted to do well in design, it would have bars on it. They might not be very big and they might not be used in the competition, but they would need it. Simply because most of the design, many of the design judges have never worked with a modern car. They don't understand what you can do with preload and motion ratio because they couldn't. So it's something that kind of has to be born in mind. Something like that. No system in this world is perfect. And I'd like to say design judge is getting better, judging is getting better, but
Steering wheel. There's a little bit in the spline.
Damn little.
In the spline.
a lot of it. See that little plot? It's not bad, by the way.
It's better than that.
It's in the top 5%. And can I turn it? Oh, yeah. I can actually turn it. We had two cars that we could not physically turn the steering wheel with the car on the ground and not moving. Needless to say, they went back to tech. How they got through tech is another question, which we won't go into. Single master cylinder?
Dual.
VPs.
Where are they?
Under that carbon cover?
Bias bar?
Yes.
And is the bias bar normal when you push on the brake? Does it stay perpendicular along the axis of the car?
Close. I think it's
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the bias bar itself.
it's cocked right now.
I don't care about right now.
Yeah, when you press on it.
Yeah,
Press on it.
pretty close to it.
Yeah, when you press on it, you want it as close to absolutely normal as you can eyeball. I'm not saying get down there with a protractor. I was doing a lecture in England a couple of months ago to a group of very experienced race engineers. And somebody asked about bias bars, which I hadn't intended to talk about at all with that group. You know, it would have been like talking about basic addition and subtraction to a group of mathematicians. So I went up to a chalkboard and started scribbling. And afterwards, one of them, who I've known for years and very successful, said, "Do you think the fact that we adjusted so that it's normal without any pressure on it and constantly put pressure on it, is that why our brake bias is inconsistent?" Yeah, I think so. I mean, come on guys, it's pretty basic.
Yep. Yeah, it's a braided stainless Teflon coated table inside of a braided Kevlar housing.
Probably go to hell. Something new under the sun.
It's a dual cable system that allows you to pull up on the pedal and close the butterfly manually.
Okay, that's light.
Yes, very much so.
And presumably, since it's still in one piece, it's very strong.
Yes.
Ah. I have learned something. Like I said, I love it. I think I have stated all the criticisms I can state, and I achieve more lack of jam nuts. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
One's on the wing nut, yeah.
I don't care whether they twist or not. I just don't want that thread working in there.
Yeah.
Find any left-hand ones that small real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I would be curious about is how much that Warren truss bends and how much of it is transmitted directly into the suspension. And my bet is most of it. Is that blue thing what I think it is?
I think it is.
I have a horrible feeling that it's a residual pressure valve.
Well, we had the same problem with the pedal fan last year. We weren't quite sure about why it was, but then we figured out that it's going back and forth. So next year we probably won't have that.
There's no way you should need it. People are saying, well, if the master cylinder is below the caliper, you need that.
What?
People keep saying that if the master cylinder is physically below the caliper, which it couldn't be in your case, that you need a residual pressure valve. You don't.
Yeah, that's not the reason we put the ball. We just had we had to pump the brakes every time we stopped.
Which is hardly any fun at all. Float the disc and it'll go away. Love that caliper. Okay, I'm going away, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Going back to the hotel and get warm. I know I'm not. Because someone's about to do